Okay, we're gonna do this daily close live today, just because it's getting a little bit interesting on these low time frames. And I missed last hour because I was doing the other video. So this was looking like it was gonna be an inside bar, an inside red bar of this prior bar until, I don't know, maybe like a few minutes ago, and now all of a sudden we're breaking out potentially. Um, it's pretty low volume and pretty like, I don't know, just kind of seems like we could use a bit more of a pullback before people really start getting eager to buy. But on these low time frames, it is, yeah, I mean, when you see this like on 15-minute chart, when you see this bar, and especially if it's going to happen right as daily open kind of occurs, I don't know, it might just make sense to just buy above this bar immediately, and then we might just get a spike up to 64.8 or something like that you can kind of take a quick profit on in the first couple of minutes before letting the next hour kind of start its work. Probably not going to take that trade just because it's so low. I mean, just the risk to reward is just not so super strong, especially if your risk has to be all the way down here. But maybe if there's a lower time frame setup kind of thing that you could kind of just take the, yeah, like maybe buy above this bar and put your stop underneath here, underneath this bar. Doesn't really feel good. You don't really feel like you're getting that much, but if the plan is to take a trade where it's literally up only, that you could 100x this trade and make money on it, this is probably the best place to be putting a stop so that you don't have to risk too much coming down here. And when I say 100x, like put money on it, I mean like you're only going to take a 100x trade on something that you're so confident it's just never going to revisit your entry. So you're just expecting us to go in a straight line up. And if we don't, then you pretty much already know that you don't like the trade, and you don't really have to wait until you get all the way down here. So it makes sense to put your stop at some sort of structure that you can on like a really low time frame, which this is now gone. But maybe underneath wherever this bar stops, if we start pushing upward, well, basically whatever the low is before 4 o'clock hits and we pump through this, whatever that last low is, that could be where you put your stop. But on on the 1 hour, it's like, we're kind of looking like we're making a little bit of a range up here. Last 4 bars. I mean, honestly, even all the way out here, we've kind of had some sort of respect for the lows here and then the highs up here. So could be putting in some sort of trading range that makes it such that you don't really want to be buying above this. Like I said, you really only want to be doing it on pure momentum. Other than that, probably still waiting for either a better pullback into a buy zone, or like this would be kind of a buy zone, or just like anywhere under here. Maybe if you miss this entry here, you just look for a second entry or signal in this region, but even like a sideways consolidation for a little bit and then go up could make sense. But I definitely do think that bulls should be making every concerted effort possible to break back into this range and to try and take this high. That's definitely the thought process and the move that they should be trying to really be on top of. Excuse me. Bears, meanwhile, just would like to hold this level and send us lower. And like I said, the longer that we go sideways, if we do end up getting a breakout to the downside, the higher the probability of us taking your stop wherever it's going to be as a bull. So I am probably still looking for a just reaction for bears. I'd be willing to take a buy in this area depending on the structure of the market as we approach that area, and then probably be looking to close that position somewhere on the other side of this trend line, maybe, depending on the structure. If we just show like utmost respect to this trend line and come back down here, then even if I took a buy in here, I'd probably at the very least be looking to take profit on some of it at the trend line, expecting the very real possibility that we're just going to get cucked. but and understand that that trend line, there's how many different ways do you want to draw it, right? Like it can be anywhere. But the main thing to note is that as long as we're on this side of whatever the trend line is, bears are in control. So bulls really, really need to make a stand outside of this region. And that would give me a lot more confidence for a buy in here to exceed this trend line level, because we'd have already done it before, and we'd have already, made a stand of, we're going to be disrespecting this trend line. And especially if we get a trend, like the higher that we can go out of this, the more likely a profitable buy at this level. But let's say even if we just go out barely and then come back in, if the move back down to the low is a slow grind, or like kind of like this in 2 legs kind of thing, also would give me a lot more confidence in a buy, because even though we've just only barely violated this trend line, bears had a weak reaction to the violation of the trend line. Like they should really be selling here and like pushing it down is what really they would like to be seeing, especially since we have 1 push, 2 push. Like it only makes sense for the market to be calling for a 3rd push down. So if we're able to have a slow grind or 2-legged push that isn't able to exceed this low, and like we find a buy setup in here, like where it kind of comes down and then there's a spike up and then a kind of retest, we'd be looking to buy that pullback and take it to at least this level. Otherwise, yeah, like bears are obviously looking at this as a potential double top, depending on how this current hourly candle and will react to this level, because like it's looking like a momentum push through already. But if we get rejected here and then revisit this low level 63.8, bears are going to be definitely getting pretty eager to like have like a double top pullback and then short that pullback heavily and strongly. So that would be what we're looking at on the bearish side of things. And let's take a look on this really low time frame. Yeah, so if you were going to take this momentum play, you buy right now and you put your stop right under here. Or you buy above this, I guess, would make more sense, right? Just taking the pure momentum. You could even just buy above this. You could wait till we break above 64.514. Yeah, and then probably put your stop under here. But I just I don't know. The structure is okay. Like here, you're supposed to buy above this, and we bought above this, or the market bought above this, and then it's kind of like consolidating here. So you can take this buy and then like close it underneath this if it gets there, just because you feel like you're maybe early and getting trapped at the top of a range. But we're breaking through pretty cleanly now. So yeah, you could just buy this 420 and put the stop here at 120 and look to take profit like just a little bit higher here. I don't know, maybe in the 800s kind of thing, just for a quick little scalp, few minute scalp kind of thing. But yeah, on the 4-hour time frame, bulls, this pretty crucial. I mean, it's not that crucial, I guess, because almost anything can happen and they can still like bears obviously are wanting to turn this into a wedge kind of shape here, right? Where we're getting increased urgency of buying, but a lot of profit taking towards the high of this channel, and then try and push out for at least a wick, if not a more sustained move. Maybe we get a sustained move, but maybe we go back up that way, right? Bulls obviously want to keep closing higher and break out of this wedge. They would not like to see this be a wedge. It would be much better if we can see it as a channel for bulls, much more likely to make money. But obviously bulls don't want to break down outside of this wedge, because a break of this wedge is very likely to result in at least a wick towards this level. Bulls really can't let bears take control of the market like that. But yeah, putting in strength, really nice strength here, our bulls, and especially if we can do another green candle on this bar, and even if we can do another green candle on the next bar, that would give me a lot more confidence to be thinking that, hey, if we're going to revisit this, because surely we will revisit this at some point, we'll be able to have confidence in a buy, especially given that we'll have broken this trend line And if we do break the trend line and we do get up to the top of this range, that would pretty much confirm a much bigger range, right? Like we've kind of been thinking of it as two separate ranges, like underneath here and then this one up here kind of thing. I mean, we haven't really been thinking of this as a range, really. More of a like a buy zone, right? But yeah, if we were able to push it all the way up to the top, it would be kind of confirming that there's a much bigger range altogether here. And so then it makes a lot more sense to be picking up a buy down at this level, and it makes a lot more sense to be looking for a break above this trend line, just because, even if we get back into the trend line, just because the trend line is not as important. Once we're in a trading range, there's no trend, really. There's no major trend. So that's kind of what we're looking at on these on the 4 hour. As for the daily candle, yeah, pretty strong. Pretty strong punch out of the punch through the lows. And now bulls, man, if bulls could close this candle above here, would be nice. Would be really strong. And if not, yeah, maybe a small bar, kind of maybe an inside bar again that closes down here, and then we keep pushing lower and lower. But this is too early to tell on that. But this is just pretty bearish. Really re-entering this level of consolidation that we had prior, breaking out. We tried to break out of it earlier. We built a level in here, tried to break out again, rejected. If we come back into this level and start sustaining price action in here, it's just not good. Ideally, we just want to round off bulls for bulls. We really just want to round off right here and take a shot at the highs again. So that is what we'll be looking at on the bullish side. And then, of course, on the bearish side, bears are hoping to, if we're going to bounce from this level, surely there will be some profit taking here by bears. Maybe we get a little bit of a pump up here and then step in for a stronger push down on the pullback. But definitely bears have a signal, right? We have to be aware of that this was the low one sell signal. We got a higher high, and this candle right here is the low 2 sell signal with a nice inside bar here, and then as the signal makes it a lot easier to take the short underneath it, and then bears got activated on this candle here. So bears are actively in a short right now, and the stop of that short is going to be, of course, all-time high, and the target for that short is probably going to be in these mid-50s at the very least to the bottom of this candle. So there would be a decent amount of pain for shorts if we could break above this, for sure, because there's already going to be a bunch of trapped shorts in this level, which has been kind of confirmed as a buy zone for the last two, because like everybody that's bought in this region is in profit. So bears have to try and make quick work of that, and bulls, of course, want to keep supporting that region. Okay, I'll see you maybe not tomorrow, maybe at the end of the weekend. I guess we should take a look at the weekly chart then as well. Weekly still looking strong. Bears obviously would like to close it underneath the open at 63.3. That should be important. But yeah, I mean, this is still looking bullish, right? Like, this doesn't look like this is nothing. There's nothing unreasonable about this weekly candle. And even if it did close red, like, as long as the next candle just is a buy back up through here, like if we close this candle something like this, and then the next candle is an inside bar, but it's a green bull trend bar that pushes all the way back up to like 67, 66, I would definitely start to think that we're going for sure at that point. But yeah, weekly is like, it's whatever. It can close almost any way and still be bullish, and it can close almost any way and not. I mean, there's still no bear signal, right? There's still no sell signal on the weekly time frame, which is to be expected where we are at all-time high, right? So there's going to have to be a really, really, really strong move by bears, a really impressive show of strength for us to get a bear signal. Like even here, we didn't really get a bear signal until I guess this was your first bear fill. No, it wasn't. We didn't get a fill. This is your first bear fill, and that's the move that takes it down. And we've already rounded a lot by the point that you get this trigger. And and that was after the all-time high. So if over the weekend we close as an outside down bar, that would be nasty. That would be nasty enough for us to have, then bears have a signal. Now bears have a short signal on the weekly chart. But until that happens, and I mean, that's down here under 59.5. Let's see if that's possible in the next couple days. Do we think that's possible? Yeah, that's definitely possible. If this next bar is like just a nasty bar down here, and then the next bar is just a nastier bar down here, very reasonable. We're still probably, like I said, if we break into this range and we don't just bounce above it, bounce off the top of it, definitely looking at, this is not out of the question. And by the way, the range can be extended all the way down to here as well. Not really. It's not a range necessarily. The range is definitely up here, but this was certainly a level of support as well. So yeah, a lot of ways we can go down. A lot of ways we can go up to.